Now let's talk about this tax case study right here. Here's an example of whether it's deductible or not. And this is from Danville Plywood Corporation versus the US. And what this is George Buchanan, he's the owner of this custom plywood company. And he's invited customers to New Orleans for the Super Bowl. So he's pretty much invited them and he's paying for their flights, their hotels, some of the excursion that they're doing. But also, most importantly, he's paying for the Super Bowl tickets, which is a big deal. And he's using this as a way to nurture the customer relationship. Yeah, during that trip, they did talk about business. They did have some business discussion. But mainly, he just wanted to say, hey, I appreciate you as customers. I'm inviting you on this big trip. I'm going to pay for everything. And hopefully this is going to show my appreciation for you as a customer, but also lead to bigger business deals later on. But of course, the IRS has had a problem with this. They decided to audit his tax return and they questioned, hey, is this really a legitimate business expense? I know you're paying for your customers and these are legitimate customers that you're paying for, but the IRS is saying, hey, this is kind of a big expense. Is it deductible? And the IRS said, no, this is not a business deduction because there's too much personal items in there. And Mr. Buchanan, the owner of this company, said, no, hey, this is a business deduction because these are real customers that I have. I am nurturing the relationship and I'm expecting big business in the future later on. So that's why this is a legitimate business expense. So they're going to go to court. And what does the court say when it comes to these expenses? What do you think? One thing I want to mention is that this case happened way before the whole Tax Cut and Jobs Act that was passed. And remember the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, this allows entertainment expenses and Super Bowl tickets would be considered entertainment expense. But before the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, entertainment expenses were allowed. So paying for baseball games, golf, any type of entertainment wasn't allowed deduction. So that's why Mr. Buchanan was able to took this deduction, but the IRS is disallowing it whether it's a legitimate business expense, not because it's entertainment itself, right? So remember, this is before the Tax Cut and Jobs Act. And what did the IRS say? The IRS says, no, this is not a deduction because this was primarily for entertainment personally, and that the business discussion was just incidental. It wasn't really the primary reason why he had these business expenses, why he paid for these things. He wasn't there to do real business with the client, is that these were just more personal entertainment items. And the IRS specifically said that it failed the for only test, meaning that if there was no Super Bowl, if there were no excursion paid, would Mr. Buchanan invite all these customers to New Orleans for this one specific trip? And the answer was no. The main reason was Super Bowl, which was an entertainment expense. It wasn't to discuss business. It wasn't to close any business deals. It was mainly just for this Super Bowl entertainment expense only. So because of that, the tax court said it's not an allowed deduction. So the key takeaway here is that the business trip and expense must be planned, documented, but also have a clear business-driven reason for it. And nurturing clients and expecting bigger business deals in the future wasn't enough to qualify this business deduction as a qualified business travel expense. Now, everything we talked about was mainly domestic traveling, meaning that the client was traveling within the United States. Now, there is a special rule when it comes to traveling outside the United States, and it's different, and it's called the 7-day rule. And the rule for this is that the full cost of the travel, meaning the airfare itself, that can be fully deducted as long as the traveling days is 7 days or less. However, the hotel stays and anything that's incidental when it comes to personal items, on personal days, those are not deductible. So let's just say I travel to Europe for a business meeting and I'm there for 3 days for the business meeting, but I spend another 3 days just sightseeing around the place. Well, because my travel was 7 days or less, my airfares going to and from is going to be 100% deductible. But when it comes to my hotel stays, only the days that were for business, so the 3 days will be deducted. The other 3 days that I had for personal will not be deductible. Same things for meals. Only meals relating to those business days would be deductible. Any meals that I had on my personal days are not deductible. So now let's talk about what if my business travel days are more than 7 days. So what I have to do is do the 25% rule, meaning that if 25% or more of my time is spent on personal, then I have to allocate the number of business days versus personal days and how much I could deduct on the travel cost, the airplane cost itself. So let's use this example here. So let's say I have 12 business days and 7 personal days plus 2 travel days. That's going to and from, right? So that's a total of 21 days. Of those 21 days, we know 7 days is personal. So we just do the allocation. 7 divided by 21 equals 33%. So because 33% is over 25%, I have to allocate pretty much 33% of my cost of my airlines is going to be personal, and then I could deduct 77% of that as a business expense. Now, let's just say my personal time is actually 25% or less. Well, let's use this example of how to calculate that. Let's just say it's 14 business days and I spent 5 days personal and 2 days traveling. So now that's still 21 days of total travel time, but we know that five days is spent on personal. So that's 5 divided by 21. That's 24%. So it's less than 25%, meaning that my full airline cost is going to be 100% deductible. And remember, we're just talking about airline costs. When it comes to deducting like hotels and meals, that's just going to be on a per basis of whatever is business days versus personal days. So that's pretty straightforward. Now let's talk about